We have a real person. You guys see the real person up there? Isn't that
We got a
isn't
real
that
person.
weird?
That's the nicest thing anyone said about me.
It's a real person.
He's a real person on that TV over there. It's so strange. We have this wonderful gentleman, Maxx Burman, with us tonight to talk about his studio's new game, Sleep Tight. We'll find out all sorts of awesome stuff about it. It's been really well received on Steam and Switch. So, Max, thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to three beautiful cartoons like ourselves about your game.
Thank you, guys. I must say, you guys are looking very nice today, especially today.
We know. It's nice of you to say so, but we're very aware of how beautiful we are.
Yeah, I'm Maxx Burman. I'm the creative director at We Are Fuzzy and one of the co-creators of Sleep Tight. I come from a background of film and games, working as an artist, and this is my first kind of step out into the world of indie games. And we just released the game last week, and that's pretty much my entire life story.
What was the biggest thing that caught you off guard going from artist to owning a company and developing your own game from the ground up, like your idea, your art, your vision?
My partner Jed and I had this idea to make this game. It was many, many years ago. But 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I actually want to do this. I want to pursue this. And so I started diving into Unreal and started teaching myself programming and trying to just start to piece together the world to do the artwork and start to get something interactive. Once I had kind of a really rough, this is a 3D game with some artwork in it, I sent it over to him, and he was like, oh my God, this is awesome, let's go for it. And we thought it was going to take us a year, and the two of us were just going to do it and release it and just do it for fun. But as we started working on it, we kept wanting to add more and more and more. And it turned into this kind of 3-year ordeal where both of us were going and taking freelance jobs so that we could just keep putting money into hiring a composer or an animator or different things like that. And then about a year and a half ago, we started looking at this game going, okay, how do we actually get this out? Game development being one thing, but publishing the game is this whole other world. So I partnered up with a good friend of mine, Maxx Burman. We started We Are Fuzzy and started it to really be a publishing company with the goal of publishing Sleep Tight. And with that's just been a 1.5-year long journey of nonstop learning and trial and error to figure out what really is involved in publishing a game. Getting it onto different platforms, working with different press and doing all of the marketing and social media and events and things like that. So if I had to say the thing that surprised me the most in the process, I don't know if I could say this is the thing. It was more like a snowball effect of I paint pretty pictures and now all of a sudden, okay, now I'm programming, now I'm directing a composer, and now I'm handling marketing, now I'm handling platforms and certification, and it just kind of snowballed into this thing where you're like, oh my God, this is a giant mountain of work, and the art of it is a very, very tiny part.
From start to finish of the initial, when you went full time on it, was it 2 years, you said?
So we made a prototype about 10 years ago. We sat on it for 7 years saying, one day we'll make it, one day we'll make it. And then we spent the last 3 years going for it and working.
Okay, cool. Sorry if I missed that. I was too busy.
Not at all.
Thinking about how glad I am that I don't have all of your jobs.
Damn it, Don.
That's Reggie playing the game.
Give us the tutorial. I'm full screening this.
So basically, these are the research, power-ups, weapons, and defense. All these skills that you can add to your dart-slinging child. So basically, you can just add all these different things like activating power-ups and getting free heals all the way to speed. Research, if you do science, you can kind of you can double the number of stars received. You can do light turrets, and then I can unlock all these. I haven't unlocked them yet because I just like to run and gun personally. And then this is where I buy all my good stuff, all my ammo and all my weapons right here in this little toy box. This is where I get my health and my power up. This is where I buy all my little, I get my little health and all the stuff. So basically with the suns, you get a certain amount of suns. Right now I get 8 for surviving the night from the monsters. And the stars are actually what I pick up after I murdered the monsters. So
Well, why don't you murder some monsters for us? Let's see the game.
I'm about to do it. Wait, let me just get some ammo.
It's gonna be so funny when Reggie dies right away.
Reggie doesn't die.
You know, one of the things with Sleep Pet that we wanted to do is kind of give you a ton of different tools to mix and match and find like a good play style. So you can play this game as a traditional twin stick shooter like Reggie's playing right now, or you can not fire a single dart and build your own pillow fort with walls and turrets and kind of have all the pillow fort items do all the work for you. And so I think in terms of tips, it's really about exploring and trying to get creative with how you mix and match playstyles and how you're mixing and matching weapons with power-ups and forts.
It's a really fun game to play too. It's like the art looks great. The sounds are really awesome. There's so many things going on right now that just make it really cool.
Is your character buffed to be like super fast, Reggie?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how I like it.
I watched like some other people play this game, and they were not moving nearly as fast as you are.
No, I'm fucking boating.
He's got this super speed, and I think he's got thorns. So every time like a monster hits him, there's just this like cyclone of thorns that deals damage to all of them.
What one moment during like the game development did you just like luck in or have like a aha moment where you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing? Like where it's like totally off the plan. It wasn't in the design docs. Like what if that just completely changed the way the game worked for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there was so many moments like that, honestly. The trial of the Teddy was like the perfect example of that because Jed Banks and I were sitting down at lunch one day and we were trying to figure out what like this character Cody looks like a barbarian. She has this like ripped off teddy bear that she's wearing as a headdress and like ripped off teddy bear arms that are like Wolverine style taped to her hands. So she's just this like ridiculous teddy bear savage like, you know, barbarian girl. And we were like, what's your like special ability be? And we were trying to figure it out. And Banks, who is not one of the game developers, but is like my partner in Fuzzy and the executive producer of this, and really running like the marketing and stuff like that with this whole thing. He just was like, what if she just had a teddy bear, like a teddy bear friend? And we were like, great idea, Banks. Like, what does that even mean? You know, like. And then he was just like, I don't know, what if she just had a teddy bear? And it took us a little bit. And it was like, wait a second, what if it was like King of the Hill? Like she has to defend the teddy bear. And this was just like over lunch. And so Jed and I ran back. And the rest of the day, we were just like, how quickly can we get this game mode in to test it to see if it's even fun? I modeled out like a teddy bear real quick in Maya, just like dropped it into Unreal. He was rigging up everything, put it in the code. And like a couple hours later, we had it all rigged up and working, and we started playing. We're like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And it's such a unique experience because like you're so used to all the monsters beelining it for you, and all of a sudden they're like beelining it somewhere else. And so it also, by having the teddy bear spawn in random parts of the room, it kind of forces you to build different forts in different areas. So like that, it's such an organic thing that would come up, and it's just like looking at the mechanics that we already have and seeing, is there a way for us to throw a spin or a twist on it? So there's 12 unlockable characters. Well, there's 12 characters. You start with one and you unlock the other 11. And each of those characters has either different starting weapons, starting abilities, or their own unique game modes. So the last 4 characters, each one of them has a unique specific game mode. So for instance, one of the characters, Tommy, if you unlock him, it's all first-person shooter mode. There's a character named Potts who has nightmare mode. So the whole room is pitch black and you have a flashlight. So your like field of view is really, really narrow, and it's way spookier because monsters are just popping out at you. One of my favorite modes in this game, there's kind of like a sandbox mode. It's called Ultimate Pillow Fort. And you start with like a ton of resources. So the whole game is kind of a resource management game. You have your suns and your stars. And suns are kind of like how many moves you get to make each day, and stars are kind of like your XP. So you spend suns on like buying ammo or health or power-ups or building defenses. And you use your stars for like unlocking new weapons, upgrading the types of defenses you have, or passive abilities and passive buffs. So it's kind of that mix and match double currency, and you can trade them in and out for each other. So there's that kind of base building, twin stick shooting mixed with like a resource management. And one of the best games, or one of my favorite game modes, is Ultimate Flowport, where you start with like 500 suns and a couple thousand stars, and you get to build the craziest fort you'd ever want to build. But as soon as you're finished building it, night starts and it never ends. So it's like endless night. You can never build or buy anything else, and it's just how long can you survive. And then the last one is Ion, who has Blood Moon Brawl. So you're just jumping from every 10 nights. So it's more like if you want to get like a good run with this, if you're really good at this game, maybe a good run is an hour to 2 hours. If you have 15 minutes and you want to get a solid run in, you can jump over to Blood Moon Brawl and like just kind of only hit the boss levels one after another.
That's pretty cool.
Every character kind of encourages the player to try a different play style and to try out the different tools in your arsenal. And once you've played with everything in the power-ups menu, then we're like, okay, now that you kind of understand this menu, let's give you the character that takes the most advantage of it.
That's sweet. Yeah, this game is really fun. Like I'm enjoying a lot of. I'm enjoying my time here.
We can
Pretty
see
sweet.
that.
I love the voiceovers. It's one of my favorite things in here. It came together at like the very, very end, like in June, a month ago. Banks was just adamant, was like, these characters just need some more personality, and like we sat down and wrote like a ton of lines. Each character has like over 100 lines, and we spent 2 days in a recording studio with just the most awesome voice actors. And like we went after voice actors who already like had a repertoire on Nickelodeon shows and Disney shows and stuff like that. And a lot of them just happen to be friends of ours too, but they came in and I think they just did such a funny job of it, and all of the different kids.
Yeah, they did a great job. And I love the lore too, like the lore of like the unlocked characters that I do have. Like I have like the former go-kart racer, you know, like turn like monster slayer badass, you know. Like I love that. Like it just really takes me into the game, you know. Like that kind of stuff like really latches on to me.
Awesome. We have an art book that we made with this also, because we've just done so much artwork here. It goes way more into the lore of everything. And shows like kind of the journey and process, because there's so many kids that didn't make it into the game, and so many different types of monsters that didn't make it into the game, or weapons, and all of the pillow fort alternatives and stuff like that. So it's like a full like 120-page hardbound, proper art book for this thing.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of really awesome art. I mean, like the game's okay, but the art's real good.
Oh my god. Nah, the game is awesome. I love how like the colors, everything just sits really well. You can tell you guys were really, the attention to details, like looking at the paper, the garbage basketball hoop in the corner, like things that you would find in a kid's room. This guy's wearing like a cardboard helmet with eyes on it. Like that's really awesome. Like see, like those attention to details are just like, to me, those are the bells and whistles that I look for when I'm playing something like this, because it's fun, it's lighthearted, and it's like, it should be stuff that you enjoy seeing, like seeing all these different hats in my backpack and all that stuff. It's really cool.
Reggie
really
loves
cool.
backpacks.
That's
He
right.
collected every single backpack in Fortnite. He's got like $1,600 in the game.
Like good amount. It's a good amount.
How much of your time do you get to actually be on the box doing the art that you obviously have such a passion for and so much experience doing? Because you obviously have to come in here and talk to cartoons on the internet, and like there's so much stuff going on. So do you feel like you get enough time to be able to sit down and like be creative on the art side, not just on the design side?
There's been this beautiful transition for me over the last couple of years where I love painting, and like God knows I've done my share of paintings over the last 10 years. But over the last couple of years, I've kind of made this transition out of being on the box and doing the paintings myself and being more in an art director and creative director role. And what I find that is fulfilling for me in that role is that I'm a multiplier, where, you know, if I'm sitting in front of a computer doing a painting, I'm only executing one painting at a time. Versus like, if I'm running a team of, you know, a ton of artists for this project and other projects, I get to go in and let someone do most of the work and kind of just push an artist to reach their top potential. And because of that, I feel like I'm multiplying their output and being able to shape a bunch of artists over a singular vision and create something that's so much bigger and so much more than if I was sitting in front of a computer doing every painting myself.
Sure.
Right.
So I would say these days, like, you know, I paint, I still paint and I still do paintings. It's less and less every single day. But in terms of the creative process, I feel like I'm more creative and my role and job is more creative than it's ever been.
That's awesome. Also, might I add that there was a comment in chat where, as a creative director, you've basically been called out for doing a terrible job. And that is that the carpet in the room is too clean to be a kid's bedroom. And just totally broke the immersion. Everybody in chat's like, I'm done. I had it in the cart. I had it in my Steam cart, and I canceled the payment because this clean ass carpet just broke my ability to believe. Suspension of disbelief destroyed.
My carpet always had to be clean.
Oh, hey.
I don't want to throw the C word around here.
Are you profiling me? What did you see as like the biggest difference from, like, you know, AAA and feature film development to this smaller, like, kind of indie stuff?
You know, I think for me, I hit my 10-year mark in the AAA world, and I felt like I didn't really have that much creative freedom. In fact, I had no creative freedom. And in my last job as like a staff art director, I like left that job when they told me that my job was not to be creative, and like I was a staff art director there. And like I just went through that too many times and thought, like, what do I need to do to be able to create something that I believe in, or to just create something that like speaks to me rather than someone else? And working on someone else's project is not the way to do that, right? It's not your project. You're a hired gun. You're there to serve the project and whoever's paying for it, really. And that was the thing that made me really interested in indies, was just like, okay, this is something that like we can self-publish this, we can distribute this, we can build this, we can finance this. And because we can control the entire pipeline of this, we can make something without any permission. And that really is the goal with Fuzzy, and like our mission statement is to create without permission.
Awesome.
And Sleep Tight for me is that like we crossed the finish line with the game that we believed in, and there I have zero regrets or things that I'm like, damn, I wish someone hadn't changed this. You know, it is exactly what I wanted it to be.
That's inspirational. You brought a little pixelated tear to my eye. I mean, it's cliche, I guess, to say follow your dream, but yeah, I mean, like, follow your dream. You know, like, you walk away from a guaranteed paycheck, you walk away from job security, you walk away from big support in the studio, and you go, okay, now it's me and my buddy in a room with a couple pieces of software, a hard drive, and a dream. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
It's pretty rad because a lot of people do this, right? I've seen a lot of people go into I'm gonna go make my own game, or I'm gonna go make my own movie, and you guys did a damn good job. Like, for your first outing, this thing is like super cool. You guys did something really interesting that's kind of like becoming. It's not even really a trend yet. It's like kind of groundbreaking in the world of video games, which is you guys have streaming integration on Mixer's platform, and I think you're working on it for Twitch. You know, we might be looking at that. That actually allows like the audience of the stream like to change and interact with the game itself, not just like the streamer. Can you give us an idea of how that works on Mixer and like hopefully eventually Twitch? I know Twitch has that capability, and hopefully it comes to this platform so we can do it.
We have it with Mixer. We're hoping to bring it to Twitch. But basically right now, if Reggie was playing, the audience could press a button on the screen and an ammo drop would fall from the sky and he could collect it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Or let's say like he's spent too much time dawdling around in daytime. we could hit a button that says, and it says your name, so it'll say like, critically awkward says it's time to go to bed, and a timer starts. And you have 15 seconds to go and spend all your suns, otherwise you lose them all and it forces you into night.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
we need that. We need
And then
that.
at night, all the buttons change, and so at night you can either help him or hurt him. You can turn all the lights off, and it goes pitch black, and he has a flashlight, so you just completely hinder his field of view for 10 seconds. You can spawn a giant Godzilla-style monster with your name on top of it that just comes after him. Or you can help him. You can drop a teddy bear decoy that all monsters will run to. So you can, if he's about to die, drop one of those. All the monsters go after it. Or you can drop a pulse ray, which is just like an explosion in the center of the room that wipes out all the monsters.
That's super, super cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. What we found with it is people who are trying to get to the top of the leaderboards, and Mixer, when you have the interactions on, you're on a separate leaderboard, so it doesn't mess with people who don't have the audience support. But if you have the audience support, what we found is the audience becomes this team where it's not just watching a player trying to get to the top, it's all of them are trying to get to the top of the leaderboards together. And so they're working together to spawn the teddy at the right moment, and then as the monsters go after it, someone else will spawn a pulse ray, and they're all in it together, and they're the ones kind of lifting the player up and pushing them past the nights where they'd normally be able to survive to.
That's super, super cool.
That
We know how our chat would handle it, and I don't think it would be the same way.
No, not at all. Not at all.
When we launched, we had one of the Mixer streamers was playing, and he was playing in first-person mode, and his chat was fighting each other, or fighting themselves. So one chat kept turning the lights out and spawning these giant Godzilla-style monsters, and the other chat kept blowing up the room. And so it was just him in the center, in first person, as this battle was waging on in the room, and it was all just this chat just fighting each other with buttons.
That's awesome.
That's-
That's really, really cool. If you could pick one thing, what would be the next thing, the next big addition to the game for you?
I think right now our focus is to make sure that this game is super polished, that now having all these new players in, that the balance is good and there aren't bugs that we don't know about. I'm not allowed to talk about new features with the team right now because
Sure.
they are
That light outside my
don't
window.
even, if you say the word sleep tight 2, we're locking you out of this office and you're never allowed to come again. So right now I'm just with you guys, I can splurge of all the things that are in my head, but by no means are any of these we have a roadmap.
Oh, sure.
This is what we're doing. We're going to support this and make sure that the polish and balance is good for next month. I think the team definitely needs a break after 3 years of working on this to just be okay, what just even happened, and just take it all in. I'm hoping that we recover super fast, and I'm really excited for us to have that conversation where we sit down and go, okay, what do we want to do next? What resources do we have at our disposal now that we've launched this thing? And how do we prioritize our ideas to give players the most exciting new experiences? Can I tell you my dream with this? Because I want to keep working on Sleep Tight. I really do. And it all, we're 1 week into our launch. And so right now it's just it's very overwhelming of just crossing this finish line. But my hope in the future is that we can create a couple scenarios and you leave the room and now you're defending the neighborhood and trying to stop the monsters from getting to your house. And then maybe you go to the school and it's the hallways of the school or the playground or things like that. I think there's so many cool things we could do in this world that would be just really fun and colorful and unique. And with those we could start to bring some different actual gameplay scenarios into the mix as well.
That's awesome. I love it.
What I would never want to do is put a skin on top of this room because I don't want to ever add anything. I think this game is very, very lean. There's a lot in it without any fat in here. That's really how we tried to design it.
Sure.
And I would never want to add something for the aesthetic or the guise that there's more content in here if the content is purely visual.
Yeah,
without
it's purely
anything.
visual. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching and thank you guys for checking out Sleep Tight. This really is this is our passion project. Grabbing the game on Steam and Switch and sharing it with your friends is means so much to us. So as much support as we can get, we're so appreciative of it. This is our first game, and I think in a couple months, I'm really looking forward to sitting down and seeing, okay, what resources do we have, and what can we bring to the game. So we're going to continue to support this, and it'll all really depend on you guys, your feedback, and we want to hear your ideas. So keep in touch with us at Sleep Tight Game on Twitter and sleeptightgame.com. And thank you, everyone at Critically Awkward, and Reggie and Chewy and Donk for having me.
Again, I just want to thank you, Max. I know you've been crazy busy, all over the place, flying around, making games, high-fiving children, just being a general good dude. And we do appreciate you coming on and spending the time to talk about a game that you obviously care so much about. Well, you have a wonderful night. We thank you very much again.
Thank you.
You too, guys.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
It was great. Thank you so much.
Good night.